Welcome back. Wanted to release this video last Friday, but came down with the flu. You can still hear my voice is messed up. I had no voice to be able to do anything. So while being sick, because you'll see in this video I make a comment about rethreading versus threading dies. So I used the 3-axis to start making my own threading set now. There goes the voice. But in any case, this guy here, if I can move it, I'll explain what all of this stuff is in the video. I'm kind of excited because I don't think anybody is doing this on YouTube. You can search for dial indicator tips, but it's going to come up with suggestions, that kind of tips on how to use a dial indicator. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next Friday. Alright, as I've mentioned in other videos, how I like to set the cutters for the lathe on rotational center, or some of them for different materials I'll set a few thousandths below rotational center. Boring bars, I think I mentioned, I've got it written down, I like it about 7 thousandths above rotational center for the best surface, best finish. So what I do, I showed in the video the comparator stand. I'll put the cutter in its holder, and I'll put the holder in the quick change tool post, put the whole thing on the comparator stand. The dial indicator is already zeroed out on the surface, so when I put it on the cutting edge, then I can read it, and I know, like my old lathe, I need 666 thousandths reading to have it on absolutely perfect rotational center. The problem is trying to get the probe right there on the very tip, and you get in there with a magnifying glass and a bunch of things trying to make sure you're there. Some cutters are easy, some are more difficult, like this. But I had bought this set a long time ago. I was new and looked like good eye candy. Let's get this thing. Because it's probably going to come in useful. Well, it turns out it doesn't, because I was trying to use one of these. Is this the one? Yeah, you can see the finish on it. They're not flat or square to the edge or whatever. So I had this guy mounted in the dial indicator on the comparator stand, sandpaper, and I'm running it back and forth, trying to lap it, and it just... Man, it took forever to even get this far. I think you can see this surface here where it was lapped and this wasn't, so they're pretty bad. So what I was thinking is, I'm looking at this whole set. All of these are flat, so nice and magnetic, huh? So they're basically useless. The pointed ones I don't use. Domes. So all this set is basically junk. These three are the only ones that I use. And I don't know why they would include an angle one. I don't know what you do with that. But this is the one that I use the most here. Teeny little point. Get in there with a magnifying glass, and you can see that it's on the tip. Either that or I use the next size up. So what I was thinking is, Dave, you got a machine shop here. Make them yourself, So I did... where was the first one I made? And you'll see me making them here coming up in the video. So there it is, brass, non-magnetic, nice. And it fits the stem. What was this? Shoot, I forgot what the size is. Oh, 448 fits my Fowler, and it fits this guy too. Kind of big, bring him in here, but so this 448 screws in there. That diameter matches the shank here and also on the other indicator. And then I just reproduced basically that. It's a little bit bigger here. And then I figured, let me make a shorter one with just fatter for whatever, you know, get an assortment of them. And then I figured, all right, yeah, let me make a flat one, which is pretty cool. I don't know, you know. So that one I know is now, you know, flat, and I can always screw it in. There's a gnat flying around here. I can always screw it in and lap it real quick, and then if I have to unscrew it, I can put it back in, or another one, and lap it. And so I know I'm always perfect on it. I forgot what else I was going to say here on it. So these look cool because the diameters match the shank on it. Then I figured make a bigger flat surface for what it's worth. And then this one I thought was kind of kick. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm trying to look in the camera, but I've got the slightest little edge here, a groove, not a groove, I guess it goes in and over. And what I plan on doing is it screws in and the groove is right to the front, but I can make sure by just going click into that little spot. I can't go in too far, so I know I can repeatably and reliably put this tip right on the cutting edge. And I looked at it under the microscope, and it works perfect on this guy and all the other cutters too, because those are really easy, you know, the diamond shaped ones. Triangular, diamond, okay. So I'll show making some of these guys. No, actually I think I just show making one, but for what it's worth, I think it's cool. The original one that comes with it is this guy, and it's magnetic, but so is this. I can feel this thing sticking right now with the little ball, but it's a kick. This part is not magnetic. Just the ball bearing that's in here is magnetic, and all of these, every bit of it, is magnetic. Don't know if that makes a difference or who cares, but so now for a very interesting thing is the Fowler dial indicator advertises that the tip comes off, but this guy, I couldn't get the tip off. And same way with this one, I even returned one and tried another one. The tip does not come off. And I left a comment on Amazon that no, it's, but then I'm finally thinking, you know, how do you machine this? They're not going to machine it like this. This tip has to come off. So what I did is, I don't have it handy. I should have gotten it out. There it is. I took 2 pieces of acrylic, which my parallels that I made from long ago, but you know, I use them until they break or crack and then make another set. But I figured, let me carefully, I put this in the vise around this so I'm not putting any stress on the internal mechanism or rotation at all. Let me get the pliers out too so you can see those. Took this pair of pliers, which has got some nice serrations on it, and clamped this pretty hard. Grabbed this, and boy, it took some force, but lo and behold, it comes off. I was thrilled to death. So now I don't know why they put it on so hard, but it was ridiculous. So now, where's my non-step one? There it is. So I think this looks pretty cool. It's just for me, but you know. So now I can change all the tips on this guy if I want to whatever I want to do. Then the other one was, well, maybe this one will come off. And this was scary because there's not much room to grab here. And I really didn't want to mess this guy up because he's 1/10 of a thousandth readings. But after quite a bit of force, lo and behold, it does come off. And I did mess up the knurling a bit, but I don't care because this is going to be the one I want to, ideally want to keep permanently on the comparator stand with probably this tip. Oh, I can't put it on there, that's right. So, unfortunately, which one came off? Oh, it looks like this one. I don't know whether they Loctited this on there or what. The threads here are kind of screwed up a bit, but the best I could tell, it's a 2.5 millimeter by 0.45 pitch. So I will have to go and pick up a threading die for this and make another whole set, which is no problem, to fit this guy. And that'll be really cool, because like I said, I want to keep this permanently on the thing. I looked all over the place. I'd love if somebody could find too, leave a comment if you know exactly what thread that is. That's my educated guess, but if I've got a 2.5 millimeter tap, doesn't go in there. So I'm kind of scratching my head. I don't want to force it in there or re-thread it, but as far as I can tell, it's definitely 2.5. So I won't know until I make my own part and then see if it screws in here. But so for what it's worth, well, why is it jamming up here? Yep, there it goes. Yeah, see, the threads are messed up on this thing. So these, you can remove it. That's how I did it. It's scary to do it, but I'm so glad I got it off, and it was something that you could unscrew. So I guess I'll show the video now of making one of these guys, how I did it, and I'll be making a whole bunch. Alright, I got the camera mounted on the new holder, new tripod thing, and the arms extended out about halfway. So we'll see how this works out. So for doing this, okay, I got a microphone cord in the way there. Doing this pretty easy. Mounted, it's 1/4 inch brass, 1/4 inch collet. Am I on high speed? Yeah. Okay, so it's just a matter of coming in, face it off. Simple and easy. Using my aluminum insert, because it seems to work. Do a pretty good job on the brass. So, alright. I don't have to go all the way, but I guess I will, because I'm going to turn it down so only the center really counts. Alright, one more pass, and that should be it. So now it's a matter of, actually it looks like there's a bump there. There is. So I tightened it down. Alright, so I'm going to have to redo this guy to set it for center. I'm off center somehow. Something's worn out. Actually, no, I didn't change this insert. Get rid of all the brass, because I got to put the saddle stop in place here. Junk stuck to everything. Where's saddle stop? There you are. Alright, so he goes down there. And I got to move in. It was 200. I got a dial indicator mounted here. So I'll just zero it out. So I got to go in. There's 100, 200, and 20 thousandths, 10, 20. So that's my depth. Lock down the saddle stop. Now it's just a matter of I got to turn on the CNC drive, because I'm going to be using that, and enable that guy so the motor's running. So now it's a matter of just taking it down for the threads. I just go in. I go in 5 thousandths at a time. Takes it right off. The dial indicator is simply magnetic mount down on the bed. It's just, I just compress it some and then push it in place so it's up against the saddle. And then when I'm ready to do a depth, I'll just, wherever the needle is, put that on 0, and then run the saddle to wherever it's supposed to go. So this is just a matter now of going 5 thousandths, which takes 10 at a time off, until I'm at depth. So I'll bring you back when I'm simply there. It actually looks kind of shallow, but that's the correct depth. I can bring the other part over here in a second to double check it. Where is the part? Yeah, I can just reach it with the microphone cord. So if I hold it up there, yeah, right on it. I could probably move in a little bit more just to be safe, and I'll do that with the compound here. Yeah, I'll have to do it with the compound. Just go in some more there. So that'll do it. Alright, like I said, I'll bring you back when it's basically at the correct depth. It should be at 120 thousandths. So with all this equipment in the way, it's hard to get in here to measure it. So I have to go on this side to do it. I need to go to 105. I'm at, yep, 119 and a half. So, I'm at 120. I'll call it 120. Bring it back up here. 120, there's 110. And then I gotta take 5 off of it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll double check it. Should be there, huh? Alright. Bad you guys can't see it, but 104 and a half. So there it is. So now it's a matter of chamfering it. I got to disable the motor drive, shut it down, clean this guy up with some air. The mess doesn't wind up everywhere. And this guy, and I want a pretty steep angle on him. So bring that guy back over and take it way out. I guess I'm going to get rid of this mag base right now. So there it is, if you guys want to see what it looks like. Put that off to the side, bring this out. Magnifying glass has to come in for this one. So I want a pretty steep angle here, and that's blocking me. Pretty steep angle, so that when I put the die on there to thread it, it's gonna start pretty easily. More than that, huh? Yeah, that's about it right there. I don't know what the angle is, but a lot of it I just fly by the seat of my pants. So go in very carefully, slow RPM, because you can break this thing right off easily. Hopefully I don't do it. There. Yeah, it should be more of an angle, I think, to get it started. So let me take it out more. Take it over and try that. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit faster RPM. Less of it, odds of it snagging. There. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now let's just clear everything out of the way and I'll set it up for threading. Alright, I'm not set up for threading because I realized I got to move the camera to get the tailstock on. One thing I have just realized here is I've always used rethreading dies to cut the threads, and when I do, the threads aren't really to a sharp point. There's always a flat to them. For this, I didn't have a 448 die, so I had to buy one, and it turns out it's a true threading die. It's round, 1 inch. Most of them are 1 inch diameter. The die holder that I made holds the octangular ones, you know, the rethreading dies. So I had to make this little sleeving thing here that goes in, and let me get the die. So that way now I can use this guy for all the 1 inchers, and it does have the little dimple in it. So I simply drop it in there, line it up with the hole that I drilled in this thing. I should have drilled 2 holes because there's a divot on both sides. And then I just run it down, and now I'll simply put this in the tailstock, and I'll run it in and thread it and bring you back when it's threaded. Okay, there it is threaded. It's just a matter of you push pretty hard on the tailstock. I put it in low gear to use the power. You know, as it rotates, push it, threads it, eyeball it. I'm in reverse, so I just need to clean this up a little bit. Here, get all the tap magic off of it. Now I need to come in and just kind of relieve it. So I just eyeball the squareness of the parting tool, lock it down someplace, and then come in and eyeball where I am. There's a bit of a gap there. So that should do it, right? Yep. In a few more thousandths. And I just go in until I see all the threads are gone. So that looks pretty good right there. So that's it. I think I need to go in more. Yep, I'm just clipping it now. There. Saw a little bit of a shoulder there. And stop it, go in reverse, and then I can just clean it up again. So there it is. So there it is, threaded, ready to go. I think looks pretty professional, but again, I'm looking at it through the magnifying glass here, and those threads are sharp. They've got a nice little point to them. Yeah, it's definitely a point. So I'm going to start collecting the entire threading set. I know it's going to cost an arm and a leg, but so the next thing to do is I'll set the saddle stop back up, and I need to turn this. I'll do it off camera. I'm just going to turn a section of this down to be the diameter of the stem on the test indicator, the dial indicator. Wish I had more room here to do this. Camera and tripod, everything can't even work. So this was the original one that I'm trying to copy, and I just want to make it shorter with that diameter. So here's the piece that you've been watching, threaded. That's turned down to the diameter to match the diameter of the stem on the dial indicator. Wish I had a collet that fit it really nice, but I don't. So next size down is too small. So it's got to over crunch it, which I'm not too thrilled doing. Everybody uses the wrench. Very rarely do I actually have to use the wrench to tighten it down, both on the mill and the lathe. So now I'm just basically going to face it and then turn this down to this diameter up here, whatever it is, and then I'll be done with this piece. So probably show you this at the end, or yeah, I'll take you back when I'm very close to the last part. 50 thousandths to come off. Figured what the heck, bring you guys back in, watch it. It goes pretty fast, especially when you're just taking 5 thousandths at a time. All right, 40 thousandths to go. And again, oh, I haven't turned my CNC back on here. There we go. Again, it's just stepper motors running the saddle. Magnifying glass is getting dirty. 40 thousandths to go. A little bit more speed. 30 thousandths to go. Getting pretty thin at this point. Probably one more pass. 30 thousandths, so there's 20 thousandths to go. I'm going to start making smaller cuts. Wow, that's scary how that is. I'm going to start taking half the amount for fear of it bending. Forgot what I called out now. Great. I have to remeasure it. So that makes another 10, whatever it was. I'm doing 2.5 thousandths cuts. I think I have to go one more pass. But I'll measure it to see here. Off. Yep. Move everything to the side. Where is, oh great, way over there. Oh, I gotta take the mic off. To reach the caliper, put it back on, making a bunch of noise probably. Alright, so I think I said it was supposed to be at 70, and I'm at 84. Yeah, another 10. Put that back. So 2 more passes and I'm done. There's half of it. Then I'll come in some 5000 grit, which is sandpaper, which is more like foam than paper. Alright, final pass and I'm done, other than chamfering that edge. There it is. That's it, that size, huh? Alright, so move all of this stuff out of the way. Shut down the stepper motor. Bring this over. Alright, where is this stuff? Here, there we go. I mean, this stuff, it's like foam. It's crazy, but it does a real nice job. If I can get in here, where's a fresh section? Yeah, crank it up more. And that's it, right? Yep, that did a pretty nice job on it. Okay, so now I just got to set up to go in there. Alright, since I don't have anything that can get in that close to the collet, I'm going to use this guy and just kind of bevel, whatever you want to call it, that edge there. Alright, bring this over and very close to... Alright, so that should be it. And I should be good to go, right? Yeah, magnifying glass is not giving me a nice view here. Alright, so just kind of go in there and bevel it a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It broke it. Huh. I should probably see if I can poke it out a little bit further. Ow! Yeah, I can get it out a little bit further. Yeah, it's looking pretty good right there. Looks like I touched it a bit, so I'm going to have to do the paper again here. Crank it way up. Where's a good section here? Doesn't look like that's getting rid of it. Yeah, there it is. Alright. So that's basically it. I'm done with this guy. And I hope you enjoy watching, and I love working with brass.